guys, it's Jenny from Colorado Beauty RN and the Academy of Facial Aesthetics, and today I just wanted to have kind of a brief heart-to-heart. I know that aesthetics looks like such a glamorous career path. It really isn't. There are a ton of perks. It's really fun. It's super rewarding, but I think it gets misrepresented a lot online and in the media. So if you're thinking about getting into injectables, I totally think you should do it if it's a passion of yours and you're creative and you have to be intrinsically motivated for anything I'm going to talk about today. So if you always want to get better and better and better and you love learning, it's super fun. And if you love having relationships long-term with patients, highly recommend it. The other thing I see is people jumping off kind of the diving board and learning aesthetics and opening up their own business at the same time. Not to say you can't do it, you can do anything, but I think it's really important as an overachiever to remember that you can do anything, but you can't do everything, right? It's impossible. Nobody can. So I wanted to talk today about the benefits of being just an injector, and then what it looks like to be an entrepreneur and an injector. So first of all, being an entrepreneur and an injector, two totally different skill sets, right? And if you have a healthcare background like I did, we learned nada, zilch, zero about entrepreneurship and running a business in nursing school where I went. So it's a steep learning curve, really steep. As an entrepreneur, I think a lot of the allure, and it was a little bit for me, this is funny looking back, is I thought, okay, I'm gonna have my own business so I can have freedom and flexibility, which is hilarious. After 6 years, I'm finally sort of kind of getting there. But as an entrepreneur, you are ultimately responsible for literally everything that goes wrong. An employee quits, you're responsible. An employee is doing a horrible job, you're responsible. Somebody has a bad experience, you're responsible. Prices go up on products, you're responsible. Everything falls on me, which is what I signed up for, and that's okay, but it's a lot of responsibility. Marketing, HR, rent, everything. Like, it's nonstop. So when you have all these things going on in entrepreneur land and you want to grow, you want to change, you want to learn, you don't have time for everything. So for the longest time, I did everything by myself, not well, because I was really good at injecting and learning the other things. So when you're learning a skill, it's very awkward. You're like learning how to walk. It takes you a really long time. A lot of it's trial and error. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be okay with that. Like, I, in general, am I'd say a highly anxious person. If you've known me well, you know that. And I take things like to heart. So it's hard for me just to brush it off if somebody has a bad experience. I mean, you always want to delve into it, look into it, see what you could do different. But it's really hard. And I think a lot of why people are drawn to opening their own business is like a little bit of an ego stroke, which I had that. Like, oh yeah, I have my own business. Well, let me tell you, it's super humbling real fast when you're an entrepreneur. And that ego kick is long gone, which is good. Brought me on back down to earth here. But when you're successfully running a business, you don't have time to inject all the time. Like, I inject 2 days a week. That's it. I can't take new clients anymore, new patients. I have another injector too. That's a whole other thing. Okay, so say you're ready to hire another injector. Who's gonna train them? You have to. Who's gonna oversee them? You have to. Who's gonna make the protocols, the SOPs, the KPIs, which we can go through in another video? You have to, or you have to hire somebody who now we have kick-ass practice administrator who helps a ton, but that is not cheap. And in the beginning, you have no money to do that kind of thing. So you kind of limp along, learn as you go. I think you just need to figure out what you like to do. So if you love injecting, if you love the creativity of injecting, if you value work-life balance, there's nothing wrong with working for somebody and being a fabulous injector. You can get paid really well. Yes, you still have a lot of responsibility, but it's not you're not where the buck stops. Is that the right saying? I always mix my sayings. Like you have a support team. Back in 2020, I had to have 8 hip surgeries, and it was just me then. Guess what? If I couldn't work as owning my own business, I didn't get paid. If you have an injury, if you're a solopreneur, you don't get paid. It's hard to not have somebody in office to bounce things off, back and forth, like ideas. So there's nothing wrong with being an employee. I think sometimes entrepreneurs, myself included, like we're kind of gluttons for punishment. Like we self-inflict so much stress in our lives. It's super rewarding. It's never boring, and I don't like boring. But you can never turn it off when you own a business. And the other thing is, when my business, nobody is ever going to care as much as I do. And they shouldn't, they're not as invested in it. But yeah, it's a lot. I'd say, unless you've run a business before, start off working somewhere else as an injector and get your feet wet. Figure out exactly what you love to do, what you don't like to do. When you're not buying all the products, all the machines, maybe you think you love lasers, and then you do lasers and you're like, I hate doing lasers. Well, you don't want to spend $200,000 on a laser as a business owner if you're not sure you like it. So just learn underneath somebody is what I would do if I had to make a recommendation. Find out what you love to do, what you don't, all the things that can go wrong, how people deal with it, how you like how a business is run versus not run, and then take the leap. Now, you absolutely can, like I said, you can do anything, but if you start your own business, you are not going to have time to run it effectively with a profit while injecting full time. It's just, there's not enough time in the day. I hope that made sense. Let me know what questions you have.